You still don't like eating.
Well, this is, this will sound like mundane and trivial, but this is actually like something I'm thinking about at the moment. I don't like eating because it makes me slow. But then if I don't eat, I have to eat more later in the day. And having to eat more later in the day means I eat food later. And if I eat food later, I go to bed later. So it's this weird conundrum now where I'm finding, yes, I push breakfast back, but I'm eating later, which probably isn't that good for my sleep. And I'm not like getting as much sleep, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So I'm just sort of figuring that out. But yeah, I've also got one theory slash idea that I've been thinking about this week, but that can come in after you've done a few if you like.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start. So I'm going to share you a niche of a concept, and it's called eternal reoccurrence. So it's the concept that we live our life over and over again, the same life. So, and he says that the life that we're living right now is the one that sets the motion. And with this concept, I thought it was cool that ask yourself, would you be okay with living this life over and over again? Because surely that could be like hell, if not. And if so, what could you change to make it worth living again?
Okay, firstly, what did you mean when you said the life you're living now sets the motion?
So this is like the first one. We're not repeating life.
Okay. And when I'm living the lives again and again, am I aware that I'm living the same life? Or is it like I'm reborn and I've forgotten everything from the last life?
I think it's reborn and forgotten.
I think that's
Totally.
I think if I wasn't aware that I was living the same life, I think I'd be okay with that. Because there are so many little like tweaks to what I decided to do and what I experienced that could happen when I'm like ages 0 to 10 that then completely change the trajectory of absolutely everything else after that point. Like I'm where I am because of a decision I made 10 years ago in a small way. You know, in another life, maybe I'd tried basketball once and not enjoyed it that much and stopped. Or maybe when I was at that hinge point, a lockdown where I was going between not playing at all and continuing with the sport, right? And I could have choose a different option there and things have been very different. So it wouldn't be with that idea, because I have heard that idea before, I don't think it would be the exact same life. They'd be very different. You'd still be Jacob Matthew, but you'd have very different experiences, which is yeah, a positive twist on anyway, because most of the time the perception of that is that it would be horrific. Yeah, but what were your two specific questions after you told me? I've forgotten.
Would you be okay with the Joel Clifton experience again?
I think if I'm not aware that I've done it before, yeah, I'm cool with it. Yeah,
Just Joel Clifton and like 2105.
yeah, yeah. Still being a sick guy.
Um, and could this be like a version of hell for some people?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's hellish now, and you will repeat certain processes, like yeah, your next lives that could be as hellish, right? But you might be able to make changes. If it's iterating on the same life, hopefully there'll be some where shit will go really bad, but there'll be also some where shit will go really good. You know, you'd make a certain decision or have an experience and things improve. So, yeah.
Yeah, with these concepts as well, like you have to realize that you don't know what's going to happen when you die. So you need to be aware of things like this that could happen. And so I think it depends on if it is the same moment in time. I mean, I don't know if space and time can be repeated. So I don't know if that would be possible, but if it was a time loop of your life, you would want one that was fulfilling, some would say happy.
Mm.
And so I guess the question is, yeah, what would you want over and over again? What can you never get sick of?
Adventure, not knowing what's
Mm.
going to happen, novelty, um, following what calls to you as important and meaningful. That could be anything, because there are a lot of things I want to do in life. There's a version of me that could make music. There's a version of me that could write poetry. There's a version of me that could be a monk. There's a version of me that's a basketball player. There's a version of me that absolutely doubled down on YouTube when I did it in year 5 when I was 10 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a version of me that didn't quit karate and became a cerebral palsy martial artist. There's a version of me that enjoyed inventions and whatever the hell it is, right? You know. Yeah, that's how to make shit not boring.
There's this painting that's really nice that I'll send it to you afterwards. It's these people in a merry-go-round, and they're all looking horrified. And it's like the merry-go-round is like a circle, right? And so that kind of puts the idea of like, you don't want the same thing to be happening over and over and over again. That is kind of a version of hell.
Hmm.
And so that kind of, it would be the opposite. That's where adventure comes in. It is something about when everything's the same that is unpleasant, and it's not, it's like you don't have a reason to wake up. And I've experienced this after the changes that I've made. It's like trying to do something new every day makes that day more valuable and worth living.
Mm-hmm. But how have you tried to implement that in like the month and every day?
It's like the things you can do is you can talk to a new stranger. I was talking to I asked someone in the elevator yesterday how their day's going, and then we spoke for 2 minutes, and then found out we had a mutual friend, a Patrick. That wouldn't have came about if I didn't start that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be maybe a good real life example is getting a girl's number, or at least attempting to. Because I think it was something like 50% of men haven't approached someone in the year. And if you do that, it just makes, in my opinion, it's something that you've done today that was a challenge, that that can be easy done, takes a couple minutes, and yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think about in The Way of the Superior Man by David Dada. He talks about the importance of living at your edge. And what he meant by that was living on the line, on the edge of your comfort zone, just beyond what you know you're capable of doing. Not so far that you feel too overwhelmed and you're paralyzed by difficulty, but to the point where you're just stretching the limits. It's like it takes a little bit of stress, a little bit of struggle, but then you expand that zone of what you're capable of, and that's what the challenge that you're talking about to me means. That's what makes a day engaging, because you are pushing yourself and you don't know whether you're going to be able to do the thing, and then when you do the thing, you feel so gratified, and then when you go to bed that night, you're like, oh shit, today's me was better than yesterday's me because I did this. Can I repeat that process tomorrow?
And yeah, it makes yourself better, it makes your stress tolerance better, it has all these effects. And I think it's also important when you're in the grind, like us, you can get so involved with the grind that other things flop. So for me, in talking to those strangers, because um, I kind of realized spiraled into I've been spiraling into introversion um in these last couple years, and so it means that I don't lose that by sacrificing how I spend my time.
So you don't want to lose your ability to interact with new people.
Mhm.
Mm. Mm.
Because it, well, when you're not doing the normal thing of going out, having these experiences, meeting people, you have to do it sober, and you have to do it in your own time, and you've got to find a different way to do it. Otherwise, you're gonna lose it, and you're just gonna, well, it's not growing, it's dying. So it's like you need to keep these fundamental human skills, and it's also like keeping in touch with what's actually going on around you. It's like, I think it's probably quite important. If we did get quite successful, you'd you might be the best basketball player in the world, but you want to still understand normal people's lives.
Um, yes, yeah, and still be able to like relate to the average person, because it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's this dichotomy between like the Alex Hormozy perspective that to be an exceptional person, you need to live an exceptional life, and you need to be exceptional, which means you are an exception from the norm. So you won't do the normal thing with other people, you won't relate to other people. But then there's the balanced counter argument of you can strive, but also be part of that norm in other areas of your life. And it's difficult to differentiate and distinguish. Well, not distinguish. It's difficult to understand which way is more close to the truth. Like, can you be exceptional and be normal? No. But then how do you still remain like? How do you not be a weirdo, but also strive for more? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you be a tall poppy, but also be a part of the flower bed? Because you can't get to the top by fitting in. So, but then how do you like fit in terms of having still those, like you say, basic like social skills and I don't know, like it's difficult when people don't relate to you, isn't it? And you don't relate to other people. It's a weird experience. But then actually I found that the thing that counters that point is that when you're going one way and you want more from life, when you find people that are also on a similar path and you connect with them, I don't feel like I need the other shit. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like talking to the stranger is beneficial if I can be myself. And being myself means striving. You know, I don't need the crowd to appreciate me if I've got people that I care about and I respect and that are on a similar journey.
You still might be able to relate on some stuff with the average person, as long as you don't compromise yourself.
Mm.
Um, I don't really know which one, the Hormozy and the opposite. I think it's quite hard to be extraordinary, but still have everything else in order as well.
I don't think it is possible. Like it's just a fact. Like, do you think Charles Darwin like was a normal human being? No. Do you think Einstein was a normal human being? No. Does David Goggins watch EastEnders? No. Like, would David Goggins relate to the conversation with a normal 48-year-old man? No. You know, and I'm not saying everyone has to be like David Goggins, but what I'm trying to say is, like, you have a finite amount of time and energy. You have things you want to do. So if you want to put all your mental resources and your time resources into a certain thing, other things are not going to have those resources. But I think that's why it's important to know that life is in stages and in seasons. Where I'm not always going to be focusing on X, Y, and Z forever. It's just like, for the next 2 years, say I'm going to focus on these things. And then when that's done and I reach a different season of life, I can change and be different. But now I don't want to be, I think being called normal or fitting in is actually an insult. Because do I actually want the lives that most people have? No. Genuinely. Do you? Do you want, like, why do you want to be able to relate to normal people? Because for me, now I'm going to go on a rant, but I'm going to bring it back to what we're talking about. I came up with this thing off the cuff, having a conversation with one of my flatmates this week, that in this modern day, compared to our like ancestors, we don't have to fight for our physical survival. Right? We don't have to go out and hunt. We don't have to grow our own food. We don't have to protect ourselves from predators. We don't have to worry, most of us that will be listening to this anyway, have to worry about shelter or basic safety. So our physical demands are taken care of. But what you do today, which is a hidden battle, it's a hidden war, is you have to protect your soul. So like, your physical state was threatened back in our ancestors' age, but your soul was happy because you had purpose. You had a goal every day, which was protect yourself and your family. These days, physical demands taken care of. I can eat, I have somewhere to sleep, I don't have to take on the elements of nature, I'm safe, but my soul isn't happy. And for me to put my soul in a good place, I have to make action to do that. And that is why I think when I look at like, I don't like using the word normal, but like the average person, that's their life, isn't it? Physically, they're cool, but is their soul actually thriving? And that's what scares me, I think.
Can you have a happy soul, body, and mind?
That's the ultimate goal, mate.
I think it's a stage of life working at all three of them. Yeah. I mean, sometimes making one happy makes the other happy.
Mm-hmm.
Just not down the route of, because pleasure's supposed to be bad for the soul. Kind of.
But do you appreciate my point that, like, in this world, physically we're sorted, but spiritually we're in crisis? Whereas back in our ancestors' age, physically we were in crisis, but spiritually back when we were good. I mean, I don't know. I didn't speak to, my great times 100 granddad, but
so spiritually we're in crisis. Why is that?
Do you think if you went up to people and said, "Are you genuinely happy in life?" they would give you a good answer? So not just a yeah. I'd like you actually make them not give you a knee-jerk automatic response. Let them pause. Give me this answer in sentences. Are you genuinely happy in life? And I look around at most people and I go, they're happy in moments, in streaks, but do they love being alive? Do they wake up in the morning and go, fuck yeah, another day? I don't, but I feel like Wim Hof does. You know what I mean? There are some people that I see in the world and I'm like, they figured something out. It's like their soul is so secure and at peace that it doesn't matter what they do, they are so pleased to be here.
Yeah.
People, including myself, including pretty much everyone I know, don't have that. And I think that state is discoverable. I genuinely do. Because I've had glimpses of it. I've had days of it. I had a couple days of it, but it fades. You know, that feeling, the feeling that we get on psychedelic drugs, that like you don't want anything more than just be there. You know, people. That's not that. Spiritually, I think you can get to a point like that, but it's
You feel large.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. I've just
Well, Jacob, are you genuinely happy in life?
it would be a similar answer to you. It's like in moments.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite a complex question. I think it's when you ask people, are they all right? I've stopped accepting the normal response, or at least stop answering for myself.
Yeah.
Um, because it's like, would define what you mean by that.
Mm.
Um, are you okay? And it's like a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 50%. Is that good? Maybe, yeah, I'd say 50% roughly. I'm happy.
Okay. So, what factors lead to that answer being yes, and what factors leads to the answer being no? And can you do anything about it?
Where I think it's whether I've done what I'm capable of on a day to day. Um, and I think it's a lot of it's social interaction, um, or lack of. I think a lot of it's kind of results, which I tried to pull back on a bit.
Well,
Um, so I guess it's yeah, the biggest one is, did I do today what I'm capable of? Um, because yeah, the ideal self is a concept in my head a lot,
mm.
and he can do stuff that I'm not doing.
Is it even possible?
Yeah. I don't think it's possible to be doing everything at the same time.
Okay.
So I guess, uh, but I'm faithful that I've reached the higher being, which is probably potential. It's like a vision. Um, yeah,
I'm just letting this sit because I can see the cogs turning in your head. I like to ask you big questions like this, Jacob, and see what comes out. You know what I mean?
mm.
These recordings are just therapy for both of us. Let's be real.
Well, you do question like whether you're doing the right thing, don't you? There's always opportunity costs.
Do you know what I realized as well recently? I realized there's three voices in my head. I reckon you'll be able to relate to these, right? And it's interesting. I told my psychology friends about this, and they recognized that it lines up with one of Freud's like most iconic theories. But anyway, so the three voices in my head, you've got the pussy, right? Who is afraid of doing things that are difficult, procrastinates on hard things, is a weak little weasel, scared of the world, insecure, and all those things. Then there's the drill sergeant. The drill sergeant always wants me to work, always wants me to be doing more, always thinks I have more potential, always wants me grinding, whether that's physically, mentally, anything, right? The drill sergeant wants me to be on it 24/7. And then the third voice is the spiritual, philosophical voice. It's like me at the age of 60 with a long beard, sitting outside under a tree meditating, and that voice just tells me to relax and breathe deeply and listen to the birds and hug trees and just be in the moment. And it's like I feel like I can feel those three distinct voices and drives in me. The drive to procrastinate, but the drive that I'm never doing enough, but also the drive to just accept that that's okay. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, they conflict. I think just kill the pussy, just don't give any attention. And then the other two, you kind of have to balance.
Mm.
When you feel the pussy, when you wake up.
Yeah, when I wake up, but also in the afternoon dip as well.
Mm. I don't have the afternoon dip, but I know I don't wake up as early as you.
You don't have the afternoon dip. Oh, there's no way your focus and concentration remains the same all day, bro.
Well, I go to the gym when the afternoon dip is.
And that's the optimal thing to do, man. But sometimes it don't work like that way. Sometimes I've only got a court booking at 11 a.m. like this morning, so I've got to use like prime morning hours on court, and then I get back and it's 2:30, and I've got to do like 2 hours of knowledge work, and yeah, it's tough. But
I kind of very routined, so I know like after gym is studying, and if I don't go gym, then I just do studying. Yeah, but it's sort of always like a revision between about 3 and 5.
really, every day.
Yeah, 2 hours a day.
Wow.
I think I haven't been to my lectures for 5 months, so I kind of got it.
No way, really. You haven't been to lectures in 5 months?
Yeah,
That's crazy, bro.
I think I went to one,
Mental.
left halfway.
That's mental. Why? Because it just doesn't feel like you getting anything from it.
There's just so much waffle.
Bro, you need to switch course for real.
Yeah, I mean it's got a bit better. Well, the waffle's more the teacher's incompetence.
No, but Jacob, you either got to switch course or leave uni and just work part-time. Because those hours that you're putting into studying and shit, you could have a part-time job, and then you're making money and you can do the other shit that you're doing.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Like, is this a sustainable strategy for 2 more years, especially considering you've got to pay for rent and live away from home? I don't know. It's just like things to think about.
Your brain, yeah.
Because is your lifestyle hurting you long term now? You know, could you be doing the things you actually want to do, just not spending all that money at uni? And then it's like, well, then you'd have to go back and live at home, and that's a tough realization to come to. And then there'd be a finite amount of time that you can do that. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just playing with ideas here, but that's how it looks from my perspective. Because if you're not showing up to lectures, you're giving them $9,000 for nothing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's what I'm saying. But
you're giving them $9,000 for shit you could learn in the textbook just by Googling it.
Yeah, I just like read, go on the PowerPoints and stuff. Yeah.
But the shit that's in the PowerPoint they got from a book, that's not the teacher's ideas, bro. It's a tough question.
Yeah. There's some. Yeah, I guess I'll get it for, but like, I mean, I really don't. I don't want to live with my parents, and
but what is it about that you don't like?
I'm the lifestyle, and
What does that mean?
it's like kind of going back. So, it's like you're not progressing from out there.
But are you progressing here?
I'm progressing, yeah.
Like,
It could maybe be at a faster rate. Um, yeah, it's kind of why I wanted to get. I I was thinking about taking a risk and getting some sort of marketing thing in another country in summer. Um, I
100%.
think it'd be hard to get paid. I could get experience, but then I don't want to come back broke for the second year. And most kids work in the second year as well. I mean, I mean, even my business would have to make enough money, which I'm not sure if I can do that or not. Or I'd have to get a job, and then that'd be tough.
Mhm.
So yeah, uh, I think it's okay being at uni, but it's definitely not amazing. No,
Mm.
I'm not living the student life really.
No, no, no. I mean, me neither in a way. Like, I go to the lectures I need to, but um, yeah,
It's not like the uni experience.
no, it's not. But then it's weird how we have these preconceptions of how we think we're going to be in certain scenarios. Like when I was at sixth form, when I was like loving academia, I was like, yeah, I want to go to uni. I'm going to go and be the guy. And then you realize that this life just is not like the uni that I'm going to next year. I am there because of the sports facilities and the opportunities I'm going to get in that city, and because the learning stuff is just academic curiosity at the end of the day. And it's like when people are like, "Oh, you're going to miss living in uni halls." What a stupid question. For me, that like I don't understand. You're my idea that we get picked out of obscurity and live with six random people, and all they want to do is just sort of go drinking and stuff. I'm like, I don't understand how that's what I would want. When I could live with people who understand me more. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, you've got to separate yourself into the dog's got to find his pack.
There you go, mate. There you go. And that's it. I think I've just been frustrated with the weaselage around me the last week. And that's not, that's not their fault, but it's just the way it is. I'm being tested. But
Yeah, you got to avoid the unhappy and the unlucky.
there you go.
And
It is. It is, bro. People with that vibe.
he's rubbing.
It is. It's just like, oh, it more just makes me angry, or just like I just kind of go into myself and I'm not as expressive. I could go into my shell when I'm around people that just don't hit the same vibe as me.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. Um,
Anyway, have you got anything more on your list? I feel like we've digressed into sort of our life therapy. Maybe we want an episode to put out with you some things before we go.
what's your what's your opinions on self care?
Um, what do you mean by that?
Um,
Well, what does that term mean? Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I'm gonna get a definition out.
Okay. Okay.
The practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health.
Then yes, I'm all for it. But I think what's the intention behind that question? I do have mind it.
I pictured self care as like someone in a bath
Mm.
and someone taking some time off to rest, but then also kind of take some time for them.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, it, because when you're quite intense, like, is it a concept you believe in, and how often should you do it?
I think a level of self-care and taking time for you when you've also been doing difficult things for worthy goals and pursuits is great. It's a great counterpoint to that. You can't be on it all the time. If you're on it all the time, you melt your brain. I'm not accepting that philosophy that some people might have. Like, you have to, I think with mental and physical pursuits, you have to sprint and then recover. You know, I train 1.5 to 3 hours a day, and I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. And I take the sauna, and I try to eat food. I try and stretch when I can. Like, and mental work as well. I do 2 or 3 hours of mental work a day. You know, like, you can't be on it all the time, otherwise the quality will. I don't accept that the quality doesn't diminish. But my interesting other point on that was, I saw a video by a guy called Leon Hendricks, who I used to watch quite a bit of his videos. I don't read these days, but it was a video about how in recent years, or like in the last decade, the idea of self-love has become like really massive, through like social media or whatever, just people proselytizing this idea of you should love yourself, right? But I don't know whether that's really good for us, and that's what his video was about. Because his video was basically saying, like, the more you focus on self-love, the more you focus on yourself, and the less you focus on your relationships with other people and how you're contributing to the world. Peterson also said, which is an interesting quote in I think it was this episode with Chris Williamson, but might have been a different podcast, but he said, clinically, there is no difference between thinking about yourself and negative emotion. That's an interesting idea. And I think we can become we can mollycoddle ourselves and become fragile and weak because we're like, I should love myself unconditionally. Should you though? Because what if you're a weasel? Do you know what I mean? No, that's actually the thought process. Like, I agree.
Yeah.
We should appreciate ourselves. We should have confidence. But if you've got that with no backup of work or dedication or competence and what you're doing, then it's going to hurt you because the world's telling you to love yourself, but you're a weasel. And you're like, I love myself as a weasel, but it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I think if you've come a long way, if there's stuff to achieve, but if there's stuff that has been achieved, then there's a cause for loving yourself.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily achievement, mate. I think it's effort.
Yeah.
You're putting in effort to be a good person, and then you appreciate yourself. That's a good thing. But if you're told to appreciate yourself first, you've got no grounds to hold that belief. The brain wants proof for your beliefs. It's how it works. You can't develop a new belief without proof.
Yeah, it's loving yourself through the failures.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're a failure. In your eyes, you tried.
It's all about effort, bro. It's all about effort. Realistically, if I try real hard in the next 10 years and like shit doesn't work out how I want it to, and like I become like I'll retire from sport and I'm like a psychology teacher at a secondary school, like, and I'm still gonna write books. I know if no one really buys my books, I'm cool with it because I've put in effort and I'm enjoying every day. It's tiring. I'm tired all the time. I don't know, this is my own life, it's my own adventure, and that's why I like being Joel Clifton.
I mean, it is a lesson not to love yourself.
The lesson is become someone worthy of their own love. That's good, Joel. That was good. That was off the cuff. But that's true. Live a life that's worthy of loving. Done.
Yeah. I think if you're unsure, you've got more work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I want to expand on some thoughts that I sent you over message the other day when I went on that rant about sort of how being selected just reminded me that the work is a reward and it didn't even feel that good. And you replied and said something like it's the difference between being validated by others and validating yourself or something like that.
Yeah, it was I think people that knew that they would get picked, there's no emotion because you already felt it, you already know it. But for the people that were maybe a little bit uncertain, they're gonna have that surprise factor of, yes, I did it.
Mm-hmm. And then I've been thinking about, I came up with this analogy that if you visualize that there's a circle and you're in the middle of that circle, and that circle represents your competence in in any pursuit or just in life. And the more that you train and work and put effort in, the more your circle expands. Right? As you become more competent, you know more things, you're capable of more things. Does that make sense? And
yeah,
the circle can be shaded in, and the proportion that is shaded in is the amount that other people know about your competence. So if someone watches my YouTube video, or someone sees me play a basketball game, or someone sees my exam results or whatever, and they're aware, and they're like, oh God, okay, he's doing some things. He's working hard. He is all right at certain things. And the circle is a little bit shaded in as more people know about your competence in life. And what I realized is, I think the world, or we as human beings, assume that what makes us happy is having our circle shaded in. We want people to know how good we are. It doesn't matter how good we are. We want people to know. We want people to validate us. We want people to say good job, right? But I've realized that the circle being shaded in doesn't make you happy. What makes you happy is the size of the circle. No matter how much it's shaded in. What makes you happy is the process of making the circle bigger and bigger and bigger each day. So what happened on Monday was more of my circle became shaded in as I was validated by other people, validated to the extent that it was like, you are good enough to be taken to this tournament. But the circle didn't change in size. So that's why I didn't feel good. It just, part of it that I already knew was there got shaded in. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, from what I've seen, the real ones don't tell people about how big the circle is. That they don't need it shaded in. That is like that, because otherwise you'd be telling people all the time.
Yeah.
It'd be the pencil would like snap.
Oh. And you'd be constantly on this treadmill of chasing a fully shaded in circle when no one really knows what you're capable of as much as you do.
Hi Jacob, the internet went out on my phone today. Sorry I wasn't able to do the podcast, mate.
Weasel. Is that thing is what I'd want to know is that a fact, or is he just chatting shit? Did he just not want to do it? And why is he saying that 59 minutes later? Interesting. But yeah.
Also like with back to the self-care, it feels like it's the common thing in relationships where someone says, I need some time for me. I need more time for me. I need more self-care. Is that just because, like, maybe they don't feel loved, or they don't have enough love for themselves?
I think it depends where you get your energy. A nice description of the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is, does social interactions and social time give them energy, or does it deplete them of energy? So does your social battery get depleted by being social, or does it get filled by being social, and then you have energy elsewhere in life? And
could there be Could there be an argument of you're not hanging around with the right people?
Maybe, but as good as our friendship is, I wouldn't want to spend 24 hours a day with you.
Yeah. Yeah, not every day yet.
Like I would want my time where I just go and train. Like that's why I do. I like my individual basketball sessions because it's literally just me and a court and a ball and some music and just the sound of the ball bouncing off the rim or swishing through the net or hitting the backboard or bouncing on the ground. And it's like there's that clip of Conor McGregor, you might have seen it, where he goes, "I was always happy when I was in the gym because nothing else mattered. You're just doing your workout. Everything else just shuts out. It's like you are at this sport and you're going to take however many shots, or you have to hit 4 in a row and then you can move on." And that's what I'm thinking about the whole time is the shot. The way that my arm moves and the way the ball moves in the air and the number that I'm on. You know, the way that I'm moving my chair and bounced off and then take the shot, and it just, your focus is singled out. I'm not, and that's time for me. No one else has to be there. No one else wants to be there. And I need that. That gives me that energy to like have good, better interactions with people.
Maybe. And does that? Oh, I wonder what happened if you like missed a day.
Well, I do miss
If
it.
you, but like if two, let's say 2 days in a row, you gave into the demons,
I reckon
and you'd be like,
I get depressed very quickly. Unorganized or unearned rest gets me down. Like, you know, I'm going to be working really hard until Euros. But then after Euros, I think I'm going to take a whole month off. I genuinely think like, July, I'm not going to touch a basketball unless I want to sort of do it for fun. And I just want to sort of go on trips, and I'll go gym still. I reckon I'll buy a month membership at Platinum Health and Fitness in Brixham, you know, where I used to train during sixth form. And I'll go and just train chest and arms and have fun, but, you know, keep healthy and stuff. Maybe do a couple 5Ks on the rowing machine, whatever. But that's going to be interesting as well. Because I do think about now, if I go 3 or 4 days without training, I'm like, what if I can't shoot? Do you know what I mean? All those little pussy voices that come up. But that's just part of my bad mentality. So I've realised that's part of small jaw mentality. Like I have to believe that I'm a shooter and that the ball goes in when I shoot. Even though I miss shots, you know, you only really hit like 50, 60% of your shots on a good day. But like I saw this basketball player saying online that like, you can't take a shot and think you might miss. Because like, what's the point in taking the shot then? You know?
and I think that applies to, you know, that's a greater metaphor for life.
Yeah. Yeah. How can you take a shot and thinking you'll miss? What's the point in taking the shot then?
I think it's like getting, how can you get started, not even to get started?
What do you mean?
How can you start something, but then you haven't built anything? Like you haven't even, it's like when people say like, I'm just beginning. Like, how can you start something without even making a mark?
Right, okay. Well, how can you justify the decision to do something if you've got no proof you're good at it?
Kind of like if you're going to try to go all the way as well.
What do you mean? Articulate what you're saying. I think you're right, but you need to put it in better words.
If you're going to try, make people know that you tried.
If you want to try, let people know that you tried.
You're going to try and make people know that you tried.
Why? Surely that's the opposite of what we've been saying about keeping your circle You don't need your circle to be shaded.
No, like it's like not in like not in doing it for other people to see, but putting enough in so that you've tried your hardest and you've done something.
I don't really know what you're on about, I'll be honest. I thought I did, but now I don't. What were we talking about? Hold on. Doing it for you, yeah. To don't me. Okay, we were talking about me not going to training and feeling okay about that. About me, why would you take a shot if you think you're going to miss? Right. What I thought you were saying was, how do people feel like they can start doing something when they don't have the current skills to do that thing? That's what I thought you were talking about. Like, how do you have the, like if you want to start a podcast or whatever, what gives you the right to do that?
That's a good question.
Uh,
I mean, what gives us the right?
Nothing, mate. Nothing. But that's why for me, like, especially this episode as well, there's been no real content to this. We're just chatting. Do you know what I mean?
But then does like anyone have a right?
Do you need one?
Have a right? They need a right to try at something now.
No. Difficult though when it's in the public eye and everyone can see it and everyone can have an opinion on it and share that opinion publicly,
Yeah, that's not something to. Because you kind of want to listen to their feedback and their hates, or take what's constructive, but a large majority won't be.
Has our comments on social media ever actually got you down?
At the start, or maybe I wouldn't even say once a month. One does. No, it's like I'm so used to it. I mean, it's mainly TikTok that hates. We get quite a lot of love from YouTube. Yeah, people are watching the whole thing.
Really?
Couple.
I find that mental. I don't even watch like a whole Chris Williamson podcast video. I'll just listen to it as I'm sort of going about life or driving or whatever.
We occasionally just reach the right audience, and it also needs therapy.
That's it. Just like weird Donnies like us. Yeah.
But like your YouTube audience and like a lot of people that like are struggling in life with mental health.
I don't know. Maybe. Or it's just people that find what I'm saying interesting. But maybe I'm struggling in life with my mental health, and the way I cope with it is by pursuing greatness and trying to improve at stuff. That's what we're all doing, isn't it? Because the baseline is if we all stopped what we were doing and stopped what we enjoyed and stopped looking at what we find interesting, our mental health would suffer. So we're all just trying to fight off the demon of meaninglessness. Always.
Yeah, there's millions of ways to cope with life suffering, but we've picked a couple things.
Yeah,
That
some weird arbitrary things, man.
I mean, they all have in common growth and potential.
Yeah.
To kind of enjoy the suffering.
And that's just a story you tell yourself, though, isn't it? Really, I'm in no different position how well I can throw a ball in a hole. Like, it might open opportunities and stuff.
You're good to your next show.
That's true.
You could fall off at any time.
I don't think I could, though. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to go to a session and be shit. Like, not like I was 5 years ago. Like, you have bad days, of course, and you have better days, but the residual just like progress from the years. I mean, it's mental. If I try and think about the amount of hours I've spent on a basketball court, and I didn't even take it that seriously for like 2 years. It's ridiculous, mate. It's in thousands of hours, just throwing a ball in a hole, and I still miss. You know, I look at players that play pro, and they still miss. Everyone misses. Everyone misses layups. It's interesting. All footballers miss penalties. Still,
The form is perfect.
well, I think it's just like you can practice as much as you want, but nothing can emulate the moment and the psychological factors and how you slept and what you ate and how the team energy is and how the team's performing. There's so many things that contribute.
So mostly unconscious psychological factors.
Yeah, I mean, I think wait, when I'm playing, oh, excuse me, Jesus. When I'm playing a basketball game or like an intense scrimmage, like a camp or something, I'm not really conscious. I'm not deciding on what to do, really.
You're in a mode.
The decisions happen so quickly that you're not really, like, it happened so quickly that I couldn't explain in sentences what I'm doing or what I'm about to do. And that's why it's so enjoyable. Because for a while, the three voices stopped talking. I mean, I just play.
Or even the drilling voice.
Even the drill sergeant stops, mate. You're so in the game. You become the game. That's flow state, man.
Which voice do you think you need more of?
I feel like the peak one is the Alan Watts voice, bro. That spiritual, philosophical voice. You know, the pussy and the drill sergeant are always going to be there fighting, but it's sort of like that voice is just sort of up some stairs somewhere, looking down on the two other voices fighting, and just sort of doesn't want to get involved too much, but just whispers in the background, let go of all Joel.
Mm-hmm. What does that look in real life, though?
Not holding on to it so tight, like I talked about a lot at the beginning of the year. You know, putting a lot of effort into things, but not holding on to it. Loving the fact you get to do it.
Not caring about the result.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, I think we just done an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Should we close it here? I feel like we're both tired, but we got something done. Do you know what I mean? We got a rep in our tired state. I think I made you think anyway.
People will see this episode and I think it shows us from a different light as well.
Yeah, this is us where we're fucked, mate. This is us where Joel, just is falling asleep. And it's annoying that another guest bailed on us. You know. People.
This is why I closed down.
Yeah. Allegedly. It's a good excuse, isn't it? Because you can't say anything to it, so. But yeah.